Hello, Jeff Sauer here, and I just got done watching the 2016 Google Performance Summit keynote and took a few screenshots and some notes, and I wanted to share that with you. So if you don't have time to watch the hour-long video, I'm going to do this in just a few minutes. So let's get into it. The Google Performance Summit, here's my summary of what happened. So the first thing we did was we saw the stage, there's a countdown timer, super professional stage. I've gone to the Google, it was used to be called the Google Analytics Summit. I've done it 7 times, and I was not able to attend this one, but the production quality looks amazing compared to what it's been, and it's obviously evolved over time. And just as a note, throughout the time, the speakers were really well. They had the timing down very well, and everything went really smoothly. Beautiful stage. And the first announcement was that just talking about how we are in a mobile first world. So the mobile is very present in the world. Now, if you've listened to any of the marketing materials from Google, pretty much anybody out there, you know mobile is really important. And a lot of the terms that were used in this video were repeating things you've seen before, like micro moments and winning moments and all that stuff, mobile first, all kinds of different mantras that you may or may not enjoy, but those are the words they use throughout this entire keynote speech. People are searching everywhere. There's over 1 trillion searches that are happening every year on Google search, so quite a bit that's out there. And not just that, but Google has apps that are capturing both search and then the share of people's attention. So they talk about how all these different apps that they have, 7 of them have over 1 billion users. So I had seen this stat recently, but it was sort of cool to see them talk about it in their speech. But one thing that to note is that when they have 1 billion users of anything, you'll notice that just the tone of Google is not so much about let's get people to try this. It's more like, now that we have people on our platforms, how do we get the masses to do what we want them to do? And that's really been a theme around this whole summit. So I'll get into that as we go along. The first thing that we learn about is AdWords, and we just talk about what inventions were happening within AdWords. One thing, the biggest one, probably right out of the box, is that this is the first and most significant change to ad text that Google's had since they released AdWords over 15 years ago. So there's 50% more ad text. The description lines are getting blurred. Long headlines, they say that people get higher click-through rates when they use longer headlines on mobile. So there's going to be a major format change to ads coming out on Google in the mobile area. Another ad format that was released was that there's a cool display format for mobile devices. So if you want to use display ads on mobile devices, a really cool format is now available. See these different ones that are out there. And not only that, but you can make bid adjustments across your platforms now. So this is a big request that a lot of us have had since Google came out with enhanced campaigns a few years ago. And it's good to see that they have now the ability to choose where you want your campaign bidding to show up. And I'll talk a little bit more about devices in just a second here as we get through the new AdWords interface. The other thing that's interesting, and this is really showing how Google's really focused on big brands and big box retailers, that if you're looking on a mobile device, if you're searching on Google Maps for something like an electronics store, they're allowing Best Buy to sponsor with an ad to drive people to go to their electronics store, offer them a 10% off coupon. Now, I think this is cool. I've been wondering why they don't do this in Google Maps forever. Like, why don't they just have pins for people that are sponsored and drive you closer into there? I can't believe they haven't done this yet. Now, I think the execution is interesting, though, because it's basically, I think that it's weird that Best Buy, who people know what Best Buy is, like if you're looking for an electronics store in a city, you probably know that Best Buy is one of the options. Why would they offer you 10% off to get there? Like, is this really going to add value? Basically, they're paying Google for the ad, and then they're discounting it 10%. So I don't really know why companies would be excited about this feature, other than the fact that I think they should have the ability to drive, to pay to drive people to your store. The discounting piece is sort of interesting to me. I don't think they're going to make much money by driving somebody through a search ad to a store for 10% off. Anyways, just my comment on that piece. But there are some things that I really like that they've come out with in this result. One is the similar audiences for search. So if anybody's used RSLA, remarketing list for search ads, then this is the cousin of that. So basically, instead of just remarketing to the people who have been to your site, now you can find people who are like them. So this is like similar audiences that you use in Facebook ads or in other advertising platforms, or even in Google, in Google AdWords, similar audiences for display. Now you're getting that for search, which is pretty neat. You can also have demographics in your search ads, so the ability to add and review the demographics of your search ads. Now, this feature was in Bing ads like 10 years ago, a little known feature in the advertising system, and it's cool that it's making its way into Google. Now, I think that it sounds cool. I'm surprised that they haven't announced this sooner as well. Like, why haven't they had demographics in search ads for years? Either they've tested it and it didn't really work very well, or they just didn't know how to do it, which I find hard to believe. But they did do a case study with AARP, and basically by using age demographics on the search filters, they got higher click-through rates and lower CPAs, which sounds obvious. If you're going after people who are at a certain age, you should get better results if your ad's more relevant. So I can see how demographics is a good filter to get more performance out of your ads. So stay tuned and look forward to that one. And then the AdWords interface itself, pretty slick how they have it work. I thought that it looked really nice. It's simple. It's much more simple, and basically and just looking at this first page of the report, we're seeing device breakout, we're seeing things over time, and we're even seeing our campaigns. So I do think the dashboard is a little bit more useful, showing you things and bringing it to the surface. And not only that, but for example, when you're looking at where you're geo-targeting things, they'll show you what your geo-target looks like. So I think that any visualization they can do to make AdWords more meaningful is really nice. This is a huge redesign. It's the biggest redesign AdWords has ever had, and obviously this is going to be really important for us to pay attention to. Now, the one thing to be aware of with any of these things is that when they oversimplify it, sometimes you tend to miss your optimization opportunities. So we'll see how that goes for the hardcore users, if they find this to be deficient or if there's good things coming out of it. So yet to be determined. As far as a rollout goes, this is coming out sometime mid to late 2016 for beta testing, and then by 2017 rolled out to everybody. So you got to be patient with that, but hopefully at some point we'll all be able to use it. And then we get into Google Analytics. Now, this is where, honestly, I got a little bit disappointed with the summit, because I was expecting some big news, some things that we had never seen before, some things that were like a big aha. And frankly, they didn't deliver on that, in my opinion. There wasn't really anything that was new or things that really surprised me. And so, and what I mean by that is they'd already announced the Google Analytics 360 suite. I did a video on that as well, talking about those innovations. And that was like a couple months ago, and they still have not expanded upon that. So we still really don't know what these things are outside of a few screenshots. And so they did do a live demo, and I'll show you a little bit about that live demo of the Data Studio. But overall, pretty disappointed at this, and it just didn't really do much to expand. Now, I think that I have the right to say that I'm disappointed, because I had been to 7 previous Google AdWords Google Analytics Innovation Summits, and usually I'm blown away. I'm like, wow, this is like the next 3 years of my life is implementing and taking advantage of these measurement techniques, and I didn't walk away from this presentation thinking that. So hopefully at some point they're going to give us more with these products and give us more opportunities, but it's still very tightly guarded, and frankly a little frustrating that we didn't get more out of the summit. But what they did tell us is that they're focusing on 3 pillars, or at least their presentation today was. It's integration, collaboration, and intelligence. Now, integration is a sort of a funny thing, because they sort of say integration is the integration between Optimize 360, a brand new product, and Google Analytics 360, which is like the old Google Premium. But it's not integration with third-party stuff at all. It's really just the integration with the products they announced. So they're talking about how great it is to integrate between the different products, yet nobody's even really been able to play around with them. So they did one case study, but it was really somebody, like one of the few people who have ever done it. But basically what they're saying is that you can save time with testing by integrating between Google's Optimize, their A/B testing platform, as well as Google Analytics. So I don't really consider that an integration, but that's the way they framed it up. Next thing about collaboration, that's the ability to share and collaborate on reports within Data Studio 360. Now, This is pretty cool. I mean, Data Studio 360, it's something that they have a free version where we can all get 5 free reports. So I would recommend you can sign up for it. It looks like you can sign up for it publicly on their website already today. I have a link at the end of this video. But you can create your own dashboards with your Google Analytics data. And you can also pull in AdWords data and data from other Google products. Now, again, I'm not sure this is going to be something that can take over for like Clipfolio and other tools that you do dashboarding with other tools like Tableau, where you can integrate with other systems. But it is a cool, free way for us to get our hands dirty and play around with things. So this is my favorite announcement from a Google Analytics perspective within the summit. I thought it was great to see this, and I'm hoping that people can get their hands on it quickly and play around with it and see all that it has to offer. And then the last thing is that they call it intelligence. Now the intelligence in Google Analytics to this point has been really disappointing. So this is now a new way to find intelligence from your reports, and it's basically like the OK Google interface for like, Google, what does this do? Or OK Google, do this for me. But it's really for navigating your reports, and so it's a natural language way of generating a report, which I think is neat. I mean, I'm happy that they have a natural language way to do that. I mean, it's nice that they have that interface. Not an interface that I use very often in my life. I'm not a Siri or a Google search voice user, but you might find that useful if you're looking for something in particular. But it's really just saving you a click or two. You still need to know how these tools work. So I would consider this to be a nice feature, but also sort of a disappointment because I was expecting more. Frankly, I was expecting more from it. If you want to view the new marketing websites that are out there, here's the links that Google provides you. Also, we're going to have a companion post about this as well. And in our companion post, we'll share links to that as well over at Jeffalytics.com. So you're probably wondering, what does this mean? Just to summarize what we learned here, Google AdWords is now a mobile-first platform, which isn't surprising at all if you've seen the writing on the wall, especially if you look at the volume of what people are doing. So it's mobile first, and then desktop and tablet are going to just sort of get bigger versions of it, it sounds like. They're simplifying everything across devices. So you can specify where you want to advertise for people, but they're also doing their part to simplify it. There's going to be new ad formats, and even the text ads are going to be different. They're different than they've ever been before because we're getting rid of the 25, 35, 35 paradigm, and now they're making it a little bit different. A lot of these features, though, are for big box retailers, people who have lots of locations and who really need to do big marketing. I didn't include a lot of the stuff in the middle of the presentation about winning micro moments and how you have to have the same customer experience in store and online and all that stuff, because I actually don't believe in it. I don't believe in any of that. I don't want to get in trouble with Google and have them hate me for saying that, but I don't think that Macy's is a better company because they have mobile search. I think that a lot of these companies are going to lose a lot of money by offering discounts for people who would already go into their store, but I don't want to get into too far a rant about that, so I'm just going to leave it there. The similar audiences feature is really cool. I like that similar audiences feature because why not? Why not, instead of trying to boil the ocean and go after everybody in the world, why don't we go after people who look like the ones who have a relationship with us? Demographics and search, also really neat. I like that capability there, especially if you have a brand that only appeals to certain age and gender ranges. Just do it. Why not? Why not limit your exposure by going after it? AdWords has a really amazing redesign from a aesthetics perspective. It's yet to be determined how it's going to affect us from a performance perspective, but the interface is promising, I would say, and you can count on it in 2017 for everybody. Hopefully it'll be out sooner than that so we can test it and play around with it. We also learned that Google Analytics 360, we learned a little bit more about it, but not a lot. The big announcement is the free Data Studio. I highly recommend that free Data Studio. Check it out and see what it's all about, and you get 5 free reports within that, and then you can collaborate just like how you can collaborate within Google Docs, add comments, move stuff around. You can do that within Data Studio, but it is only for Google products. So that's the problem, is like this is only for Google products. So it's not quite as good as Clipfolio from what I can tell right now. And if you haven't heard of Clipfolio, highly recommend checking that out, but this isn't a video about them per se. The text-based query is cool, but I'm not a user of that from a search perspective. I just search. But for some of you, you might find this to be a game changer or revolutionary. Yet to be seen how people will actually use it. I think that it's just more of a bell and whistle type thing. I don't really know where the substance is. And the other thing that's really sad is that I don't really have much more news from my last video, other than that Data Studio is free, which is actually a pretty huge development. I had said in my last video that you're going to have to pay for all these things. Now we at least have one bone thrown at us for something that's free, so that's pretty neat. And so hopefully with that, you can go to my website, jeffalytics.com/AdWords2016, and get some links to the things we talk about here and see some screenshots and other fun things. And so that's it for our video today. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully you found it useful. And if you didn't have a chance to enjoy the summit, at least you now have a summary of what happened.